Hello, folks. My name is HanK. I'm pretty new to this new YouTube process of communication with other people. So, I apologize if I'm not on point, but I'll do my best to keep it entertaining nonetheless. I woke up this morning getting ready to get started, and I observed an article about Colin Kaepernick. This guy, wow. I mean, if ridiculous had a name or a picture to go with it, it would be Colin Kaepernick, I believe. And that's just my personal opinion. And if that hurt your feelings, I don't apologize. But anyway, we're taking a man who took it upon himself, comes into the NFL. You know, he looks like he's got a promising career. His first year as a starter, he kicks it off and it's successful. He looks like he might be a hit. Comes back the next season, flops right on his face. Kind of like what a good portion of certain fans had expected of him to do anyway. I apologize. This is a stop and go process for me today. I'll try to fix this. Let's see if that'll fucking fix it. I apologize for the issue. But anyway, so Colin Kaepernick falls on his face his second year. He sees his career dwindling into nothing. And you could see the sense of desperation that season on his face with each game that passed where he didn't have a buyout contract to start him on a new team, or the fact that he just couldn't find himself back in the starting position for the San Francisco 49ers. But in any case, this man, he wants people to believe that he took a knee or a seat. It started off as sitting during the national anthem. And when interviewed, he stated that it was to bring awareness to the oppression of people of color. I understand that people have their own beliefs, and I respect that. But when you enter the NFL, the one thing that gets me is you sign a contract, and that contract states that you will not do anything that will be bringing shame or discredit upon the NFL, the team that you're playing for, or the fans. And as a part of the underlining process of signing, it also designates that you're not allowed to use the NFL as your grandstand to infuse your personal narrative of any opinion that you have for anything. But old Colin Kaepernick, he decides to take a seat, then tells the fans and those that follow him and support him that it is to bring awareness of the oppression of the people of color through the criminal justice system, as a matter of fact. And the funny thing is, shortly after this happened, we saw a video of Colin Kaepernick sponsored by Nike. And when you go to look into the process of this commercial, the commercial states that he sacrificed everything to do this for humankind. He didn't do it for me, because there are ways to figure out the truth, and he's not presenting the truth the way it's actually, I guess, recorded. But in the process of negotiating with Nike, he would have had to have brokered a deal with Nike before he decided to throw his Hail Mary. Now, he understood when he went to do the kneeling process, he had a contingency plan with Nike to go ahead and get that 2 point whatever million to do the commercial because he sacrificed everything. So he already had a contract in order that succeeded his own NFL contract. So he didn't sacrifice anything. He actually made out on the back end. Now, Nike saw it as big money opportunity because if we can start a movement, then hey, you know. But when you go into the underlying factors and you actually investigate some of this yourself, you will see that the way things are being presented is not very accurate. And back to the Colin Kaepernick thing that I noticed this morning, I saw where he was threatening the potential halftime show performer for the NFL Super Bowl, and making it sound like how he would do what he can to have their career ended if they performed, unless the performer went out during halftime and took a knee in his image. Now, this whole time, he has been complaining that the NFL has intruded on his First Right Amendment and all that. But yet, he is doing the same thing and no different than the one thing that he started off representing. So, is he really something that anyone in society could look at and look up to as an honorable person? I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there are people that know Colin Kaepernick and think he's a swell guy, but he kneeled and sat on my flag, your flag, the one thing that represents our sovereignty to the world. And by doing this, he did it on a platform which is rather insulting, not just for the active duty military and veterans, but just the common citizen that pays their taxes, goes to work every day, shows up on time, works hard, follows the laws, and is considered a legal tax-paying citizen. So then you want to ask about, is Colin Kaepernick's movement of sound mind? And I got to looking into it myself, and there's this thing called the UCR, Uniform Crime Report. And it is the only running recorded document that is used to determine crime rate and to show statistical analysis of events that are occurring around the world, in a country, in a state, in a city. And if it's a hate crime, gang crime, if it's domestic violence, it will go in and discuss specifics and provide numbers of each statistical analysis that you can look up to verify the validity of Colin Kaepernick's movement. Now, I have yet to find anything using the UCR and other sources that substantially supports Kaepernick in any form or fashion. And actually, in retrospect of what Colin Kaepernick is trying to present to the common citizen about how minorities or people of color are oppressed and the criminal justice system is crooked, when you go into the UCR, remember, the UCR is a record of any crime reported. Yes, there are crimes that go unreported, but more than not, the crimes that are committed that are of concern and question here, I guess, such as murder, rape, or black on white, white on black violence, can be viewed through the UCR. And the one statistic that I could see was not supporting Kaepernick whatsoever. And it's actually contradicting Kaepernick completely. So I encourage you and anyone else you would like to share with the information that you find on the UCR. I encourage you to get on the UCR and do some research yourself. A mindless sheep will allow someone to tell you what to think and how to feel. And they'll even go as far as allowing a person to tell them how to act and how to dress. My question to you would be, are you a mindless sheep? One that follows others and has a hard time thinking for yourself? Or is there someone that you know that it's like that? I mean, I'm sure at some point of our lives, a good majority of us find ourselves in a position where we follow others willingly or unknowingly, but it doesn't make it any more right or better. But this Colin Kaepernick business, I mean, this is just as ridiculous as it can get, people. So, I don't know. Ever since all this kneeling business began with the NFL, I've kind of taken a seat on the sidelines, so to speak, on watching it even. I have lost so much interest in NFL that I hardly even watch. I don't even know who's in the playoffs this year now. And I used to be a hardcore fan. But the moment that the NFL allowed a political action to take place during the game, and the most prominent time of the game that displays the sovereignty of our nation and the hard work and sacrifice that has gone into building this country, the NFL allowed one person to disrespect that. And I'm sorry, but that's bigger than any person or name in my book. The hard work and sacrifices by the common American citizen is represented in the Stars and Stripes and that Star-Spangled Banner. Whether you're white or you're black or you're Asian or Latino, whatever ethnicity or background you come from, the flag that represents this country is bigger than any one of us. And it's not saying that there isn't issues with the criminal justice system anyway. It's obvious that there is. And I think that being more accurate and precise on the information can better help society figure out what needs to be done to right that wrong, rather than throwing up smoke and curtains and having people following their own tail. It's like a fart in the wind, you know? Poof, it's gone. It's there one day and gone the next. It has no relative bearing. It has no direction. And when you support a movement by lies and deception, which direction does it go? Up? No, not hardly. It reclines or recedes, and it could end up worse than what it started off. The NFL has not felt the full backlash of this yet. I'm confident in that fact. Because when my kids grow up, they're not going to know anything about the NFL. And that's my goal. I don't want them to follow. I don't want them to be influenced by the criminal actions of the NFL. I mean, look at Jameis Winston, for crying out loud. The man viciously rapes Erica at a party and denies it. The investigating law enforcement officer was alumni from the same college that Jameis Winston was attending at the time, and it was just by a mishap or whatever is what the claim is, that the investigator did not present the incriminating evidence that he had that proved Jameis Winston indeed raped Erica. He had DNA from the rape kit that was provided, and had video and statements from witnesses that the investigator held on to for over a year, which did not release the evidence until after the hearing. But once the hearing was over, that evidence wasn't allowed to be viewed legally anyway, so it didn't stand ground. So Jameis Winston was allowed to walk scot-free and was actually revered in the eyes of the NFL for doing it. The NFL really propped him up, saying this man has faced a hard life and deserves a second chance. Well, he gets to Tampa Bay and continues his negligent acts in acting in defiant or deviant ways. He assaulted an Uber driver not very much long after he got away with the rape of Erica. And then you got people like Ezekiel Elliott with domestic violence. The NFL is a corrupt establishment, and I can no longer in sound mind and body support the NFL. It's upsetting, but peace out.